Hey there, everyone. Happy Wednesday. My name is Jake Sirota, and welcome back to Authority Builders Ranking Secrets. Now, before we get started today, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can keep track of everything that we put out having to do with SEO and AI. Now, on today's episode, we're going to be discussing how Google actually ranks in index pages in 2025. Things have been changing a lot recently, and we want to cover what's actually working now. Additionally, we're going to be talking about how our managed service, ABC Plus, has been adapting and shifting to these recent changes. We're also going to end with some industry news. Some really big stuff is happening, so make sure you stay to the end to cover everything. If you've been in this industry for a while, you know that it's not static. Search is actually one of the most dynamic, fast-changing industries in digital marketing. Every year, Google evolves how it finds, understands, and ranks content. In 2025, we're seeing fundamental shifts in indexing and ranking that's driven by AI models. User behavior and technical priorities are important now more than ever. Today, I'll be breaking down Google's process and how it works right now, and what that means for your strategy moving forward, if you do need to change anything at that. We'll also cover some major breaking news in the SEO world that is affecting pretty much all ranking tools and even Google Search Console data itself, so make sure you stick around to the end. The first part of this episode is going to be covering some basics, the difference between crawling and indexing. And even though this is the basics whenever it comes to search engine optimization, often many people get it wrong. So first, with crawling, it's all about Googlebot or other search engine spiders discovering URLs. Indexing, on the other hand, is all about search engines storing and interpreting content for retrieval. So if something is indexed, that means that it will be able to show up in search results in the future. That's the first step to getting your web pages ranking on Google. Now with the basics out of the way, let's talk about how things are evolving in 2025 with the rise of AI. Google's AI-assisted parsing means that content is actually summarized and classified before indexing. This really improves how context and entities are understood across the web. Passage-based indexing ensures specific sections of a page can now rank independently from the web page. This is extremely important whenever you think about how Google gets information for very specific long-term, long-tail, or informational search phrases. Oftentimes, these things are answered now by AI overviews, and previously were answered by featured snippets. And while it might not result in direct traffic, it's still important for your brand to be visible. So now that we understand the difference between crawling and indexing a little bit better, let's talk about how pages actually get indexed after they're discovered. There's a few priority signals that we're noticing whenever it comes to getting pages indexed fast in Google. One is pretty obvious. It's the technical accessibility of your website, meaning that Google needs to be able to crawl and find your URLs easily in order to index them. You can improve on this by making your URLs have a nice clean structure, clean code, and also mobile-first design. Helps a lot. Now that we understand a little bit more about the difference between crawling and indexing web pages, let's talk about how pages actually become indexed, especially given the change of the industry in 2025. Now, there's a couple of priority signals that we find when it comes to getting clients' pages indexed fast. The first one is pretty obvious. It's the technical accessibility of your website. You need to make sure that search engines are able to find your website and easily understand the structure of your web pages. You can improve on this by making sure your URLs have clear structure, prioritizing mobile-first design, and making sure that you have clean code all across your website. The next thing that we find super important whenever it comes to getting web pages indexed fast is, well, schema markup. Structured data and rich snippets has elevated the importance for categorization, especially with the rise of AI search. Some people may beg to differ, but it's becoming more important now more than ever. Another huge thing that might be a little obvious, but a lot of people overlook, is content freshness. You need to rapidly update, either quarterly or yearly, update your content to make sure it has the most up-to-date information, and that way, Google and other search engines will use you as the authority. Another thing related to content is making sure that you're not duplicating content and cannibalizing your own keywords. So canonical clarity is super important. You need to make sure that content is clear and easy to find, and that pages on your site are not competing with each other. So in other words, indexing on Google isn't just about Googlebot seeing your page. It's about Google trusting it and thinking that it's going to add value or give real information to users. Great, so we discussed the difference between crawling and indexing. We went over some tips to get your pages indexed fast, and now let's talk about what everyone cares about, and that's actually ranking after your pages are indexed with Google. So there's a couple of ranking signals in 2025 that are important now more than ever. One of them being relevance through entities and context. Google really doesn't rely on traditional exact keywords like they used to, but more so on entity relationships and semantic search, meaning that building up your brand visibility and creating that natural demand is how Google is separating the winners from the losers. Another thing that goes hand in hand with this is EEAT, also known as experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. So Google is layering user intent and trust signals together. So how do you signal to Google that you're trustworthy? Well, you put out unique proprietary content like case studies, white papers, and make sure that things are peer-reviewed and actually accurate. You'd be surprised how many weird AI slot blog posts that I see people put up, and they don't know why they're ranking. Well, it's because that content isn't actually useful or trustworthy. To go hand in hand with this, user interaction metrics is more important now than ever. We learned this from the Google data leak last year. Things like click-through rate, dwell time, return to SERP behavior, they're all important in determining how you show up in the rankings. Another thing to focus on is content depth and the originality of that content. Like I said before, there's a lot of people who are just pasting 500-word blog posts completely generated from AI and expecting that to rank. Still, and this is oftentimes thin or derivative content that struggles more than ever to get found and indexed in Google search. The last and perhaps the most overlooked ranking signal is actually coming down to performance and accessibility. Like I said before, making sure that your site is crawlable, making sure that you have good core web vitals, good page speed, ADA compliance, and mobile first UX. That's going to be the baseline requirements now to succeed in 2025 and the future. Okay, great. Well, we know all of these things are important, and some of these things you may have heard before, but what does this actually mean for your SEO strategy in 2025 and beyond? What are some actionable things that you can do right now to make sure that you're not falling behind? Well, the first thing would be optimizing and auditing your site structure. You need to make sure that your URL structure is clear and that pages that you want people to get shown is not too hard to find on your website. Make sure to invest some time into structured data and schema markup. Doing this for all of your core content types will make sure that your information is findable both by readers and search engines a lot easier. Make sure to prioritize original and expert level content. Like I said before, things like case studies, white papers, unique things that other people aren't doing. That's what Google wants to see, and that's what users want to see as well. It demonstrates real-world experience and that expertise and the authority that we were talking about before. Make sure to continuously monitor user engagement metrics as ranking correlates more closely with those satisfaction signals than ever before. Pay attention to your click-through rate, pay attention to your bounce rate, the time spent on page. All of these things are extremely important when it comes to satisfying both the users and search engines. Now remember, Google, just like any other company, has limited resources. And with the amount of content being pumped out daily, it's extremely important to understand that crawling, indexing, and ranking your web pages are reflections of trust, authority, and user-first design. So if your web pages aren't getting indexed, that's where you need to start. So the updates that we're seeing in 2025 reinforce a single truth. Your site won't secure long-term visibility if it doesn't demonstrate expertise, authority, and clarity. It needs to provide value for the users first. The sites that are going to win the internet in this year and beyond are the ones that align technical precision with genuine authority. This is a shift that the industry has been going in a long time, and the shift to AI search is just accelerating that. All the things that we've been discussing today are things that we're seeing firsthand with our clients on ABC Plus. ABC Plus is our fully managed SEO solution. It's meant to deliver growth without the guesswork in SEO. So instead of juggling around technical audits, content planning, link building, competitor analysis, all of that stuff, we can help you with. We'll take care of it. Our team will start with a technical audit to address any underlying accessibility issues on your website. Then we're going to audit your content and the links of your competitors as well. Then we're going to give you a custom roadmap that's based around your goals. So each month, you get high authority links, optimized content, and along the way, you'll have clear reporting and a campaign manager so you can actually see what's moving the needle in your SEO strategy. ABC Plus is designed for businesses that need a partner to help drive long-term organic growth while you're busy running your business. Bottom line, if you want results without micromanaging SEO, ABC Plus does the heavy lifting for you. Lastly, we're going to end this episode with a little bit of industry news that is shaking up everyone's Google Search Console and pretty much all reporting tools. So you may have seen this on LinkedIn, but Google just changed how search results load, and it's reshaping SEO reporting across the board. So Google removed the parameter, the and number equals 100 search parameter, which previously what it did was allow ranking tools to pull all 100 results of a single SERP page instead of the default 10. Now, since Google is no longer supporting this, basically starting on September 10th, it's already caused tons of data gaps and errors in rank checking platforms. Many SEOs are currently seeing steep declines when it comes to impressions and a rise of organic ranking because of this in their Search Console. This also suggests that past impressions in Google Search Console may have been inflated by bots scraping 100 results pages. This shift could also help explain part of the long-running great decoupling, where people are seeing an increase of impressions but not the same trend when it comes to actual clicks in Google Search Console. All right, so what does this mean? Does it mean you need to cancel your rank tracking subscription? Well, not necessarily. But for SEOs, there's a couple of key takeaways that I recommend. One would be to treat September 10th as a new baseline for impression data. Make sure that you explain this to your superiors and clients so that they understand that the game has changed because of this. Another big tip is to keep up to date and check with your rank tracking provider to see how they are going to pivot with this change. A lot of rank tracking providers have already released statements, but some bigger ones, like Ahrefs for example, hasn't really come out and said how this will affect pricing in the future. On top of that, Google themselves hasn't really commented on this, which is leaving the SEO industry in the dark. So make sure you keep track of your rank tracking tools, and make sure your clients are aware of this change as well. Another assumption we can make from this is to expect stricter anti-scraping measures from Google going forward. They're constantly trying to save resources, and this is one of the biggest ways that they're probably doing it in 2025. The bottom line is that Google has closed the door on 100 plus result pages, and it's reshaping how SEO data is being perceived and tracked. So keep on building that authority with good content, links, and technical SEO, and we'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's been it for this episode of Authority Builders Ranking Secrets.